There we go. Let's get this road on the show. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for clicking on. It is Wednesday night. Chris is going to be popping up here in just a couple of moments, and we're going to get started. A lot has happened. A lot to talk about, and the title tonight: What could go wrong in 2024? We're going to go to A to Z. We may not be able to get all the way through the alphabet tonight, but if not, we'll have a part two on Monday, depending on length. But again, uh, kind of a little game, if you will, a game, if a little distraction. Um, I've I've got a list of 26 things that could go wrong from A to Z, literally. And as we go through the night, I'm going to check some of them off as well, check them off as we talk about them. And we'll see how far we get through the alphabet, not necessarily going from A through Z alphabetically, um, but going through the topics nonetheless, A through Z. And hello, Pink Flamingo. Thank you for hopping on here. Thank you for being in the chat. And if you'd like to be in the chat, all you got to do, you're right here in the, you're watching on YouTube at the moment. And I thank you very much for doing so. Just feel free to hop in the chat at any point. And again, we're kind of just waiting for Chris to get up here. I'll go ahead and say, as of right now, tomorrow, totally off. Nothing during the afternoon or nothing during the night. And Friday we'll be back. Friday we'll be back at 9 o'clock with a group of people that were at the national convention in 2016, and this is Friday night ahead of Super Tuesday coming up next week. And we're going to talk about the convention and what goes on behind the scenes of the convention, what could possibly happen at this coming convention. We'll talk about a lot of things. You'll hear some stories, and the people that are coming on are very entertaining people. They're not going to be camera shy or anything like that. And you, like I said, you'll hear some interesting stories about what it's like to be at a national convention. And it looks like Chris has joined, so we'll bring him up. Chris, how are you?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm hanging in
And
there,
how's
man.
everyone in the audience? Good, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Everyone's fine, it appears. We'll find out here as the night goes along. All right. I got a little thing. I wrote out a list of 26 things from either things or people from A to Z, things that could go wrong in 2024.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to X them off as we go along, and I'm going to invite everybody in the chat to if you think you know a certain letter that will be associated, get it in the chat, and spread the word around. Let people know we're having a somewhat of a distraction tonight, a game. What could go wrong in 2024, doing it A to Z. So let's see, where should we start tonight? Let's start with something that Chris, we've talked about on here in the past, and multiple times we've discussed it, but it's kind of become official now. Hi, cunning stunt, to the stunning one. Okay, FBI warning: immigrant gang members are joining forces. We'll listen to just a couple of seconds here.
A startling revelation has surfaced. The FBI has issued a warning about immigrant gang members forming alliances, a phenomenon never seen before in the city's bustling streets. This news arrives amid a sharp rise in illegal immigration, weaving a complex tapestry of challenges for the city, with safety and social harmony at stake.
Okay, so that's our first letter of the alphabet is the M for migration. You've been talking about being left of bang with these gangs, and the FBI apparently has issued a warning. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So when I was talking about being left of bang, being proactive, and how to stop these gangs, I don't know if you remember or your audience remembers when I talked specifically about rounding these people up early, right? So we don't have to deal with what's going to come. And what's going to come, of course, is going to be more crime. And then those gangs are going to start to form together to make like one big gang. Okay, same way with the Chinese. Don't think the Chinese won't make like a paramilitary organization out of what they're doing by infiltrating into this country. All right, the same thing. But the bottom line is you have to round these people up because if not, it's going to cause mass chaos. Right, there's going to be a lot of violence. Right, and a lot of people are going to start losing their lives over this. Okay, but furthermore, it's a way to stabilize the country, if that makes sense. You can easily destabilize the country by allowing this to occur, and if that's what their end state is, if we don't stop it now, then it's going to get to that.
Yeah, if you're gonna destabilize, you've got to have a big enough force inside the country, either with local rebels or with with people that have been inserted. And I think we're at that point. I think that's definitely something that could go wrong in 2024. So M.
Right.
For migration is checked off the list. And again, you've been talking for a couple of weeks now about how the number one concern should be the formation of these gangs, because a lot of these people could have possibly come from gangs in their home country.
Exactly, and them come from Venezuela. Like I said, don't think for 1 minute that Maduro didn't have a part to play in this. The same way China and Russia do, because they're trying to screw us up as well. You see,
Venezuela
with
is
sending these gangs.
Yeah.
Right. So like I said, with Maduro, right? He's of course lined with China, Russia, and Iran, who are enemies, of course, of the United States, and they want to see this country implode, right? So what's a better way of seeing a country implode than to destabilize it by allowing these migrants to come in and just to totally wreck it? You see?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
So don't think like Venezuela doesn't have a part to play in this. They do.
Venezuela is the V in my list from A to Z. So we've already got 2 letters down, and 2 birds with 1 stone, if you will, here as far as our first story of the night. Second thing we're going to touch on is something of concern. Russia deploys nuclear missiles in Moscow and also has transported them around the country to the big cities. The letter P for me is Putin, so I'm going to go ahead and check that off. And I'm gonna look at this from the strategic side. I think this is a signal that there is going to be a tactical nuclear strike. The reason I say that is because normally when you deploy, and especially when you're deploying nuclear, you deploy them away from cities because you don't want your cities destroyed in first strike scenarios. Um, Moscow knows that, and they are deploying them around their cities in anticipation of the West going, well, we can't strike those because they're in their cities. That's my rationale. Am I way off base on that?
You know what? I'll be totally honest. That's not my area of expertise. So for me to sit there and comment on something that I have really very limited knowledge about, I'm not going to do that. But
Okay,
your rationale sounds
that
correct, right? Your
okay,
rationale sounds correct.
okay.
So,
What
but the
what?
thing about it is,
Go ahead.
good there.
What does this say to you when you see that Russia is doing this? Do you see it as saber rattling?
All right. So,
I'm interested in the military and counterterrorism perspective.
what I'm not seeing is saber rattling. Okay, remember we talked about baselines and what's normal, right?
Yeah,
This right here is an anomaly. This is an anomaly to the
yeah,
baseline. Russia
absolutely.
normally doesn't bring out nuclear weapons. Russia doesn't
And
normally bring out nuclear weapons.
no, they don't transport them rarely at all, let alone in the open and across the country. And again,
Right,
you don't deploy your nukes near your biggest population centers.
right, right. So
You just
if
don't. So there's a reason for that.
right,
Go
so
ahead.
I've heard that they're gonna start targeting like airports, with a tactical nuclear strike at the airports because they're gonna start bringing the F-16s in, right? And they want to prevent the F-16s from taking off. And they said, possibly there'll be a nuclear strike there, a tactical nuclear strike there, in the airfields where the F-16s are.
It
So,
just makes everything
um,
totally unusable. It's not like a conventional strike. You can repair the runway. You can rebuild the hangar. You can replace the plane. A tactical nuke, that area is unusable for decades. So if they're going to do it,
right,
I mean,
exactly,
yeah,
right.
that makes sense.
So,
And
so,
go ahead.
so the thing about it is, since NATO, is supposedly supposed to be sending these troops into um, Ukraine to help the Ukrainians, and I think, not I think, but Putin had told them not to do that, you know, uh, and like I said, I really think Putin is a man of his word, and not just based upon what he said, but from previous things that he's done before in the past. Okay,
He
which would lead
doesn't.
me to believe,
Go ahead.
which would lead me to believe that he's good on his word, and he's going to follow through on what he said. You see,
Right,
so
right. The people that do the saber rattling, the journalists over there, the deputies, they say some things that have proven not to even, they haven't, or at least they haven't yet proven to be true. Um, but when Putin actually says something, he's generally a man, like you said, a man of his word. You also mentioned Ukraine, which is on our alphabet list at the letter U. Um, and let's go to this. Let's start over here. We'll just kind of transition and yet stay in Russia. Tucker Carlson has been informed that the United States could potentially arrest him on sanctions violations due to his traveling to Russia. and interviewing Vladimir Putin.
That's the first I heard of that. It really is.
This
I
came
really
out.
don't have any comment on that.
Okay, this came out. Late yesterday. Legal counsel let Carlson know that they've been informed the United States could potentially act because he's not affiliated with a news organization. So there is no freedom of the press involved, technically. And he's like me. He's just a guy. He's just a guy with he has his own channel on
right.
on
so he's
on Facebook.
So he's a journalist. So he's a journalist, though, right?
Not technically, no. We're just people with cameras, according to the actual letter of the law. If you're not affiliated with a major news organization, push comes to shove, you're just a dude with a camera and going to get your jaw jacked. And I think Tucker Carlson might have forgotten that. And by going to Russia without, I don't imagine he made arrangements with the government, our government, that he was going to do this, or they wouldn't be saying, we're threatening to arrest his ass. But the other thing I want to bring up about that is there was a story that came out that Ukraine was supposed to have paid someone to try to assassinate Tucker Carlson while he was in Russia. My theory was that if that was indeed a true story, it was Russia trying to assassinate Tucker Carlson while he's in Russia and blaming it on Ukraine. And evidently the kid that they had hired, they were going to pay him like $4,000 to deposit the explosives underneath the vehicle, and he chickened out. Have you heard that story? Have you heard that story?
I have not. That's the first time I've heard that. I've never heard that story. That's the first time I ever heard of it.
Well, that is also alleged to have allegedly occurred. All right, now so they're going to
blow him up.
Yeah, they were going to blow him up. They're going to blow up him and the driver. Him and his driver.
But over what though? Just because he interviewed Putin?
Well, they were going to make it look like Ukraine did it, so the United States would lose. Wouldn't support Ukraine.
So they're going to use him to garner or lose support. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. If they blow, if Tucker Carlson gets blowed up in, and I mean that in the literal sense, not in the internet sense. If he gets blown up and in Russia and Ukraine gets blamed for it, then there will be less sympathy for Ukraine in the United States because, the especially the MAGA crowd would just go absolutely bonkers. And you wouldn't have to, there wouldn't be any need for any proof because once Putin said Ukraine did it, that's all those people would need to hear, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but so that was allegedly to have been a plan. And
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay,
So
Robert F. Kennedy. Oh yeah. They were just going, well, I mean, guys, Putin's already had the dude that led the Wagner group. He's already killed him. He's already killed his most powerful opposition. What's an American You know, guy that used to be on Fox that's now on Twitter. You know, um, I would think he would be even more expendable than one of his own countrymen. Anyway,
Yeah, she's
yeah. Hey, you got to see. That's I think of things from the political side. So
yeah.
that's the anyway. Um, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said, "You can make kids resilient against racism with good education and black business role models, and then the racism will bounce off black children like they are Avengers because they will be immune to it." And I just wanted to get because he's starting to get some traction as far as raising some money and being a third party option, which um, Cornell and the Green Party do not like the fact that he's gaining traction and being an alternative to the two party system. None of the little small parties like it. But anyway, I just wanted your thoughts on this. Is this something that will
So
resonate with the black community?
let's go over that one more time, real quickly, because
Okay.
it's got a process. Just got a process.
Okay. He
It's
said
in my brain.
he said
Go ahead.
all right. He said quote, "You can make kids resilient against racism, and you do that with good education and black business role models, and then the racism will quote bounce off end quote black children like they are the Avengers because they will be immune to it." I'm going to tell you what it
That's
says to me.
ridiculous.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what it says to me as a white person. He is saying to the black community, white people are going to be racist and it's going to get worse. So don't expect anything to be done about it. Try to teach your kids just to be like the Avengers and not let it impact them, which is
So like
ridiculous.
that's stupid. Yeah, that's
And
completely stupid.
and our letter for tonight is robots is racism. So we scratch that out as well. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We already got 5 letters of the alphabet done, and we haven't even been doing this that long. Not going to take long here. Um, I don't know if you heard this or not. The last Chris, I think the last 4 episodes, there has been a newsworthy clip of Congresswoman Lorena Boebert, or as Lori Arnold calls her, Boobert. Um, Today, the family deserves some peace, respect, and decency. Oh, deserves the same peace, respect, and decency they gave to the Biden family. Earlier today, her 18-year-old son was arrested on 22 separate counts: possession of a financial device, trespass auto with intent to commit crime, criminal possession of ID documents, conspiracy to commit felonies, theft, possession with intent to use, contributing to delinquency, and then several counts of um, theft less than $300. So 22 counts. And roughly at the same time, because these are time stamped, as he was getting arrested, she was releasing this: the Biden crime family will go down as the most corrupt political family in American history. Okay. All right.
We talked about this last. We talked about this last show. Like we said, they listen. They present all that we're such holy rollers, and we could not do anything wrong and be behind closed doors. They're the cruddiest, low down, grimy individuals you ever want to meet.
She's
You
been
know that?
arrested. she's been arrested. The husband's been arrested. The kids have been arrested. Um, and you know,
The whole
it's always,
family.
yeah, it's always amazing to me that Joe Biden can be both a criminal, evil genius, and yet a dilapidated old grandpa. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I see.
I'm going to point this out. Biden won by 75 points. Trump won by 35 points. But here's how the New York Times frames it. And framing something is a very political term. You know, when you're a candidate, every speech is framed, every paragraph is framed, so that you can, so you don't ever box yourself in on anything. Primarily is, so that you can talk a whole bunch of words and not say a frickin' thing. Basically, they're saying President Biden won the state's Democratic primary election, but faced opposition over his Gaza policy, and Donald Trump easily beat Nikki Haley. Well, again, Trump won by 35 points and Biden won by 75. So what
Right.
what this does is this puts the impression in people's mind that Donald Trump easily beat Nikki Haley and that Biden has a real problem winning his primary when in fact he won it by 75. Trump only won by 35. So this is a way of framing things, in my opinion, that's very dangerous, because if it comes down to November and we do have an election and we do have it between the two candidates, Biden and Trump, and Biden wins, it's already in the heads of people that, well, Trump easily beat Nikki Haley. Trump had to easily beat Biden. Biden had trouble with his own party, blah, blah, blah. It's just a little mental step that can be placed in our society, instead of just reporting on it truly and factually, and without a spin, without a frame. And we need to, and I try to point those out, but I don't get them all. We as citizens need to watch for that, because it gets done to us. Okay, Chris, this came out 11 hours ago, and finally somebody's talking about it. We talked about this 5 months ago. We talked about this in October, that BP had a contract for gas exploration off the coast of Gaza. 11 hours ago, it started getting a little bit of traction. Yeah. And the only reason it's getting traction,
we covered that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we covered that. Back October, November, right?
Yeah. And Gaza is one of our letters of what could go wrong, because now Biden said while eating an ice cream cone in Brooklyn, New York, a couple of days ago, that he was hoping there would be a ceasefire by the weekend. So I don't know if he knows something and he was leaking it, but I don't anticipate that happening. Okay.
Hey, let me ask you something, Barry. Back on Gaza,
all right.
Back on the Gaza thing.
Okay.
What are they talking about, the oil and the gas for in Gaza? They're bringing that out now?
No, they've just got they're just exploring at the moment, supposedly. Energy embargo for Palestinian activists caused a disturbance at a panel discussion led by the chief economist Spencer Dale in London today. at the BP headquarters. Huh. And hold on a second. I don't know if this is in English or not. Yeah, that's why I thought. That's why I had it. It's got music in it, so I can't play it, but we can read it. BP is funding genocide in Gaza. BP is funding genocide. BP is funding colonial genocide. 30,000 Palestinians have been murdered by Israelis. Shame on you for being complicit in the genocide, is what the video is saying. 1 month into the genocide, BP was given a contract for gas exploration off the coast of Gaza. People are continuing to be slaughtered by Israel, according to this video, and you're making a profit. Shame on you. This is an absolute disgrace. Shame on you. And then she's shoved out at the door and still screaming, BP is funding genocide, free Palestine. And then someone else runs across and yells, blood on your hands and free Palestine. So, yeah, the word is starting to spread that, you know, the things we've talked about will be coming out into the media, thing like this, like going to be hearing about the condominiums and how the shoreline of Gaza is being refurbished already in the north, while the south is still being.
It is. Well, it is. Are you serious?
No. I'm saying we're going to hear that. I think we will hear that. I'm projecting. I'm No, I'm saying that in anticipation, not as a fact.
Oh, okay.
No, not as a fact at all.
All right.
I want to get your opinion on this too. I like doing this. I like having you on here when we haven't talked about any of this stuff, and because you're honest with people, and it shows in times like this. Because if it's something you know nothing about, you go, "Whoa, you know, this is the first time I've heard anything about this. What is this?" This is going to be one of those things, probably. This is a quote: Oregon students will no longer need to be proficient in reading, writing, and math to graduate, because having standards to graduate disproportionately harms students of color. And it asks for thoughts.
All right, so what they're really saying is black people. Well, I'm not saying it, but what they're trying to say is black people are stupid. So they have to lose. They have to. The standards are no longer there. You know, it's not the fact that they're stupid. It's the fact that, like, no one really cares in school anymore. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you get a homework assignment, well, maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't. You know, and the teachers are also always. It's like they're always forced to pass the students, regardless. You know, if you go to school, you really don't learn, but we're gonna pass you anyway. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what they're saying, before there were standards, and now we're going to loosen the standards, basically because the black students aren't that bright. You see, it's good. In the way I kind of like
the way I kind of look at it, right either. The white students aren't that bright,
you know.
No.
But what they're really right. But what they're really trying to say is just the black students, even though we know it's not.
Yeah.
But that's indirectly what they're trying to say.
Let me see if I hold on.
As having standards to graduate disproportionately harms students of color.
Okay, I think this is just basically the quote, but
Oregon students will no longer need to be proficient in reading, writing, and math to graduate, because having standards to graduate disproportionately harms students of color.
Dang. Huh. What's up with all these books?
Oregon students will no longer.
Jeez. All right, that was intentional. All right. my my A for the alphabet for our tonight A to Z. My A is aliens, and and when I put the A down, I had yet to find this. Ukrainian defenders filmed an unidentified disc-shaped object in the combat zone, and I'm gonna pull this up.
Охренеть, ни хрена. Что это за херня? По-любому. А ну приблизь еще. На месте стоит, ты бачишь?
А на месте, блядь.
А в теплах ничего не светит? А, что не хочешь? Не, що вони можуть пустити по нам? Ти що? Охренеть, ни хрена. Что это за херня? Смотрителя тарелка по-любому. А ну приблизь еще. На месте стоит, ты бачишь?
А на месте, блядь.
А в теплах ничего не светит? А, що не хочеш? Не, що вони можуть пустити по нам? Ти що?
Chris?
I'm here.
Your thoughts?
But you know what, Barry? A lot of that stuff's been going on, though. You know, not just in Ukraine, but pretty much all over the world. You see,
Okay.
all over the world.
I agree with that.
So
All right.
you know,
Now,
and what's been happening? But what's been happening is, I mean, they're coming out with it, you know, but slowly but surely they're coming out with it. So, eventually it's gonna come out, you know.
yeah,
It's gonna come out.
and
So,
and that's
but
why
all of these,
A is
look,
on the list. Go ahead.
right, and but this is all over the world. You see what I'm saying? It's not like it's just one place. It's all over the world. So you know, with the United States coming out and saying
this is the
stuff,
yeah.
Russia
This
coming
is
out and stuff.
this is the first time we've had a report from one of the two militaries involved there. This is the first time we've had something visible evidence. This time it's from Ukraine. But civilians and other non-military authorities have been talking about UFOs monitoring what's going on over there. And I'm not surprised to see this UFO flying over there if they are indeed monitoring. And Russia's moving nuclear weapons all over their country. I would think that those that were monitoring would want to have an eye on what was going on. So it adds up to me.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it does. It does.
And it seems like, you know, every couple of weeks, something like you said, it's going on all over the world. Every couple of weeks, something fairly significant pops up from somewhere in the world. This is this is an interview from August 30th, 2021. Disney star China McClain exposed satanic worship in Hollywood. They know full well that God exists, she says. They also know that Satan exists. They're just counting on you all not to know. But either way, the things that you take in, they're feeding you. They affect you, whether you realize it at the moment or not. So basically, she's talking about that. Yeah, we have. That's why I wanted to bring it back up. Yeah, we have talked about it, and that's why I wanted to bring it back up, because I think it's going to continue to be, you know, this idea of the Illuminati, the satanic culture, and how far it may be within our country, within our world. I think that's one of the things that could go wrong in 2024 and start off something significant. I also got the L for L. Ron Hubbard and the Scientology thing. And while we're on the Scientology thing, go ahead.
No, I was getting ready to ask you about the Scientology thing, and like how many people belong to that church?
They say millions and millions, you know, but I honestly don't know. I do know that I do know some things, and the things that I know are predominantly bad. They think that all people are the same age, that they're just in different sized bodies, that kids are the same as adults, and they're not. Kids are kids. And that's whacked enough for me to want to see them stopped right there. But they separate kids from their families and basically try to destroy the family unit, which is a good way to build an organization of loyal people, I guess. You do what you told her, you'll never see your kid again. But it's pretty despicable, in my opinion. And I think the Scientology thing, I think it's starting to get exposure. It's starting to get more and more exposure. The exposure is growing. It's like shining a light on a bunch of roaches, and they're starting to scramble and get real defensive. And I think this potentially has that's why I've got L. Ron Hubbard, the letter L, and the founder of Scientology. His birthday's coming up on March 13th. And I expect significant protesting to occur during those celebrations. And if it does indeed occur, then there could be a little flashpoint there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, this next is a more formal government thing. U.S. Attorney Joshua S. Levy confirming a commercial sex ring for the ultra wealthy. This came in late yesterday as well. Clients include U.S. elected officials, politicians, accountants, lawyers, professors, executives, high-level companies, pharmaceutical companies, military officers, government contractors, professors, scientists, pick a profession. They're probably represented in this case, end quote. A highly organized system. Commercial sex ring was built on secrecy and exclusivity, catering to a wealthy and well-connected clientele, and business was booming until today. Are you surprised by this? This is, it seems like this is the Jeffrey Epstein crowd, the alternative where they've gone. Epstein's not operating anymore. Then this, here's the replacement.
Yeah,
Are you still?
So
okay,
are they also? Yeah, are they also intelligence operatives or agents working for a foreign government?
I would say some of them would have to be, because it's a proven effective modus operandi for gathering intelligence.
Yeah, for sure.
The affidavit unsealed today alleges that once the buyers were verified, they were then texted, allowed to place orders with commercial sex workers. They would choose the duration of the encounter, the types of services, and they also would receive a menu of different options and different women that they could purchase at rates sometimes at rates between $360 and $600 an hour. Menu included photographs, then directed the sex buyers to various apartments in Watertown and Cambridge in Virginia. Are you familiar with those areas?
in Virginia.
Yeah.
Could you repeat those towns again?
Watertown and Cambridge. They're not far from DC.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I know. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not too familiar.
The buyers in this case are not charged today. They're not named. That's that's always the case. The dudes that are responsible for all this stuff happening always walk away, and the people that have been involved on the other end always end up getting punished.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Do you know about this? You know about what happened with Diddy today? Well, actually, it came out 23 hours ago. Have you heard about this?
What happened? What happened with Diddy? What him and his son got charged, or gonna get charged for assaulting someone?
It's a 73 paper document, and it comes from Diddy. So no, it's not about him and his son. And it allegedly Diddy had sexual relations with a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj, and that would be Meek Mill.
Meek Mill. Yeah, Meek Mill. Yeah, Meek Mill.
And a singer who performed at the Super Bowl, which would be Usher. So, yeah, that came out today. Just when you think, man, the world's gone crazy. What's going to come next?
Well,
go ahead. You want to talk about Diddy a little bit? The whole thing between Diddy and
the whole thing with Diddy. But there's been from Cassie coming out to file that lawsuit, and then other people coming out to file lawsuits, like, he's obviously done a lot of stuff, okay, which is now coming out, normally if one person files a lawsuit, okay, maybe, but when you get all these people start to file lawsuits, like, what'd you really do, dude? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Okay.
It's just like, once the floodgates open, they just keep it just keeps coming,
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go down. I'm going to go from B down to E, and click off the letters from tonight's What Could Go Wrong 2024 A to Z. For B, I had the border because I think that there's potential for things to really kick off involving something happening at the border, and also both Biden and Trump are going to be visiting the border. Fox News said, why would Biden be going to the border? And then Fox News said, it's great that Trump's going to the border, and they're going to send one of their big stars down to interview him at the border. So again, if I really want to disrupt this country, and I'm an outside agitator, if you take both of them out at the exact same time, you're playing your hand. You're showing you're showing that it's an outside nation that's done this, but it would also send us into complete chaos with both of them taken out.
Yeah, of course.
Because there would be people would be claiming the presidency, and a lot of them would be doing that with force. So that's why I think the border is potentially such a big issue. And along with that, Number C, Civil War. Letter C, number C. Letter C, Civil War. You know, we've talked about that on here in the past. The movie's coming out April 12th, and a lot of people, you know, are primed for it. Can't wait for it to happen, and it's crazy. And again, I think it's not going to be, what kind of a, huh?
It's a movie. People need to relax.
Yeah. Yeah. You know? But but if it were to happen, it's not going to be what kind of American are you? It's going to be, you know, what kind of Christian are you? And there are two kinds of Christians primarily, the traditional Christian and the Republican Trump Christian. And they are two very distinct sets of beliefs. Okay. And I'll just leave it at that.
All right. So they added another sect to Christianity. Okay. Got it.
No, I did. I just did right now. I just declared that there's a separate sect of Republican or Trump Christians, whichever one you want to call them, because traditional Christians and those that are claiming Christianity in that entity, they're very different belief systems. The letter D, disease. I think we're going to see disease in 2024, Chris. We're seeing a
for sure. Did you
go ahead?
Yeah, did you hear about Did you hear about there's a new disease going around, a new illness going around? It's almost like a stomach flu, but I have to do some more research on it, but there's something going around, and they said it's like a stomach flu, but it's really deadly. So I'll research that some more. Give you some information.
With Chinese biolabs being discovered here in our country, is it a surprise that we're going to see new diseases possibly going around? No. All right.
No.
Letter E, as far as our ABCs of A to Z, what could go wrong in 2024? Letter E, I've got eclipse. Are you familiar that are you aware there's going to be a significant eclipse?
Yeah, on 8th of April?
I think so, yeah.
8th April.
Okay, so
it's supposed to be an eclipse, and I'm just like, what's the big deal? You know?
Well,
I don't know, unless they know something else that's going to happen, because an eclipse, you know, there's no reason for all these people. Hey, you know, we're putting out an emergency alert. What? Like, why would you put out an emergency alert for an eclipse? An eclipse happens, you know. It's not like it's the first time it's happened. You know what I'm saying? So what makes this one different than all the rest?
You want my opinion?
Because there's obviously, yeah. Go ahead.
It's a signal. It's a sign. When the eclipse happens, that is a sign for other actions. That
you think
that's a sign to start the disruptions in the cities or whatever the Black Swan plan is. That's, to me, it's Occam's razor. The most logical explanation is probably the truth. And before today, I would not have included the eclipse on this, but it's come out. Why are they so nervous about this eclipse? And again, it's got eclipse tips. The tips are to schedule errands and appointments early, to have communication plans with family and friends, to have cash on hand in case of limited internet access, to buy necessary groceries and gas, to expect heavy traffic and long lines for local services.
Anyone else besides me find this a little weird? all of the stuff that they are telling us to do when it comes to this eclipse? What do they know that we don't know? They're telling us to get groceries. They're telling us to stock up on essentials. They're telling us to have cash on hand just in case. So what exactly do they know that we don't know? That first photo that you seen was a news station in Arkansas. This one that you're seeing on screen is from a place in Ohio. So what exactly do they know is coming?
Okay, I wanted to get to this point so we could see the this one from Ohio. Schedule errands and appointments 2 to 3 days prior to the eclipse. This includes grocery shopping, dentist, doctor appointments, picking up prescriptions, and banking necessities. Check your individual family emergency response plans. Develop a communication plan with family and friends just in case you lose or have limited cellular service. Chris, an eclipse is not supposed to do anything like this. If you only have cellular phones, find out what, listen to this last one. If you only have cellular phones, find out which of your neighbors have a landline in case you need to call 911 for an emergency. What the hell's going on?
Got me. They know something we don't. That's for damn sure.
That's for damn sure. They know something. So that's why I've got E as our, that's why the letter E is for eclipse. And we're going to be talking about this. You know, this isn't going to be the only time we bring this up because, you know, not everybody watches every episode. And I think everybody needs to have this information because it's one of these WTF things.
Right.
2 hours ago, an Illinois judge ordered the removal of Donald Trump from the primary ballot.
Was that an Illinois judge?
Yeah. I thought this had already been decided by the Supreme Court with the Colorado decision. But nonetheless, this does two things. This crosses off the letter J in our alphabet. And it's going to cost Trump. It's going to cost Trump money and time to fight this, which is probably what he's going to have to do. And he's running out of money. However, his lawyers are doing a good job of extending his time. And that takes us to this. Supreme Court has granted the certiorari, which basically is the oral argument, and will consider presidential immunity. Argument is set for week of April 2020 or April 22, which is, in their views, an expedited timeline. So, your thoughts on this, Chris?
All right. So, I think we basically, what if they grant him or they hear it, and who knows when they're going to come back with the ruling. You know what I'm saying? Now, normally, how long do rulings normally take? They could take up to a month, or they could take 2 months, right?
Right.
So
right.
April 22nd,
it's at the juror's
let's say it takes
discretion.
60 days. Right. So it could take 60 days. You know, and with those 60 days, so that would lead us what? So May, June, right?
Yeah.
So what you have July, August, September, October, 120 days before the election, right? And what if they come back? You know, maybe it takes even longer. What if it was 90 days? Then you have 90 days for the election. So
even,
you know,
no matter when it comes back, the Trump team will take it back to court and say this is too close to the actual election.
Exactly,
It's
to
election
elections.
interference.
Oh.
So this, in my opinion, this case will not come to trial before the election. The Fannie Willis
Exactly.
thing.
If Trump wins, right? Because if Trump wins, then all that stuff it's just gonna get squashed anyway.
Right,
See?
he'll pardon him. Yeah, he'll pardon
What you gonna
himself.
try? You can't try a sitting president.
Right. So 2 out of the 4 cases, in my opinion, are off the board. I'm not a lawyer, but I've been watching and studying this stuff for a long time, and
Right.
and just by regular time frames of how long these things generally take, there's not going to be enough time. The federal trial in Manhattan starts March 25th. As it goes right now, we'll see if that goes to trial. But I think this was a huge win for Trump, and it's a way for the Supreme Court to handle it in such a manner that it makes sure that the trial doesn't happen before the election does. And I think, and that's why I've got J, judgments of courts, because these judgments are going to have significant impact on our future.
All day.
Republicans have blocked a bill by Democrats that would protect in vitro fertilization access after an Alabama Supreme Court ruling that comes in 4 hours ago. We had a real good segment with Pink Flamingo, who's experienced with the in vitro fertilization process and explained it all. I thought explained it all incredibly well. I thought it was a great 10-minute segment. And there's a major difference. The uninformed are going to lump them together and have been, but there's a major difference between IVF and abortion. And this is just
right.
It's just another step of division in that, you're telling all women that, you're not smart enough to take care of your own body. We had some storms here last night, and they hit right pat over in Dayton, about 60 miles from me. It's a great place to visit too, but last night there was damage to the National Museum, one of their hangars, and to a couple of the planes that was outside, including one of the engines was ripped out of the nose of one of the planes they were restoring. It got really bad here last night. We had tornado sirens and everything. So,
jeez.
Yeah. All right. I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we got almost, we got 4/5 of the way through this. And we talked about Trump. So Trump is going to be the T in this. We'll cross that off. And we'll leave the rest until Monday night, if that's all right with you.
That's fine with me, because I'm sure some more stuff's going to pop up within the next 6-7 days.
Yeah. And any one of these could between now and then. All right. Thank you for being here, man. Always greatly appreciate you being on here.
Thank you for having me on your show. Always. I love being on your show, and thank you again for having me. And I want to say I appreciate the audience supporting your show, and I hope they continue to support it and make it grow.
Well, hang on here a second. Let's hop over here to the chat. Katrina Hill. Okay. Well, sorry, Katrina. We just call it like we see it here. Nancy McMonarch. Test publishing really is a scandalous industry. They know that the kids aren't going to complain about shoddy work. Oh, yeah, Nancy's an educator in California. Okay, not going away says, thanks, Chris. Stay safe. So nobody has any questions or anything. So, all right, dude. We will. We'll talk. I'm sure before then, but we'll see you Monday night.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Okay, you take care then.
All right. Again, thank you all for being here, and we got halfway through the alphabet, which means there are, let's see, we got 13. That means there are 26. We got exactly halfway if we got 13. That's a lot of things going on in the world that could go bad. So while we talk about all this bad stuff, we're constantly promoting, trying to be positive. We don't talk about this stuff to bring you down. We talk about this stuff to make you aware. And we damn sure don't talk about it because we want to see bad things happen. We just want to make sure if bad things happen that that we're all as prepared as we can be for it, if and when it does. So with all that being said, I'm taking tomorrow night off as of right now, unless something mega happens. And Friday night, I'll be on with a really special episode. And if you have any interest in politics or you want to learn something about it, we're going to be talking with at least 4 members of the 2016 Democratic National Convention out in Philadelphia. And at least 4, possibly more, if everybody shows up. Sometimes things happen and people can't show, but as of right now, we got at least 4. And you'll be able to ask questions as well as hear some stories, and we'll talk about some possible procedures. And I'm going to be asking them. I'm going to tell them what I think is going to happen and see what they think, how likely it is that it'll happen. So I think that's it. I think that's it for tonight. Yes. Have a good night, everyone. That's from Nancy McMonarch. And from me, I say namaste, shalom, shalom, assalamu alaikum. Blessings be upon each one of you. Love y'all like chocolate chip cookies. It is it's a dark world. The world needs light all the time, and we always need more light. So try to be positive. Try to be a light. The world needs more light. We'll see you next time.